The Green Party wants businesses to have to include genders in payroll reporting so it's more transparent whether women are being paid the same or less than men doing the same job. The policy was announced this morning by Leader James Shaw and Women's spokesperson Jan Logie. Jacob McSweeney reports.
So Kate Shepherd Place, of course, named for the most badass suffragette in New Zealand history, is just up around the corner.
The Greens leader James Shaw and Women's spokesperson Jan Logie made the announcement in Wellington today, surrounded by feminists, young and old. James Shaw says the numbers around pay equity in this country are irrefutably bad.
Female chartered accountants will earn $45,000 a year less. Female engineers earn 18.8% less than male engineers. Even in female-dominated occupations like nursing or midwifery, women earn on average 7% less than men.
Mr Shaw then passed the microphone over to Jan Logie, who he referred to as the next Minister for Women. She says the Greens would change the Employment Relations Act so employers have to include gender in payroll reporting, allowing women to see where they may be paid less than men doing the same job.
This is providing a signal for somebody to see if there's a problem in their workplace, and they can then use that information to be able to have the discussion with their employer, and then their employer will be required to prove that they are not discriminating on the basis of gender.
The Greens would also put the responsibility on public sector chief executives to achieve equal pay for their staff. Mr Shaw says there would be consequences for those who fail. Labour's Jacinda Ardern says fair pay for women should be a priority for any government, but her party's focus is on making it easier to get pay equity claims across the line.
Our policy has been focused primarily, though, on making sure that we get the legislation right so that there's a framework for pursuing pay equity claims that doesn't set the barriers too high, and that's been our big focus.
RNZ has asked several of New Zealand's biggest employers if they would be happy to give out general gender information when reporting payroll. Air New Zealand says this year it will, for the first time, include gender pay reporting in its sustainability report. The airline says its gender pay gap is at 0.4%, the difference stemming from differences in tenure and experience. Progressive, which owns Countdown Supermarkets, says it is committed to having no salary wage gap between men and women employees in the same positions. And a spokesperson at ANZ Bank, which has done a lot of work in eliminating the pay gap between men and women, says it supports any ideas that eliminate disparity elsewhere. People in Wellington welcomed more equal pay, but many of them quickly picked holes in the policy.
There's more talk than action at the moment, so it would be great if a party does impose those kind of things.
It's not only about pay, right? Because also you need to take into account experience, and not everybody has the same, would necessarily have the same pay, regardless of gender.
Is it anyone else's business what gender you are? My son told me that Facebook now lists 96 options. Who's to say male and female are the only options that people identify with?
It is pretty tricky. I mean, I guess that's for someone else to sort out how you can do it, what you can do it. But the more transparency, the better.
Doing that will make it a lot clearer, a lot more upfront. So it's an open book for everyone.
The Greens would also double funding for the Ministry for Women to $10 million and fund an expert body to help push through pay equity claims. Mō te otaka o te ahiahi, ko Jacob McSweeney aho.